So I've been thinking for a while about what to call this episode, and eventually I landed upon the worst episode of Havisiting. Now, I'm not saying I'm definitely going to use that name, in fact I probably won't, but why did I land upon that name in the first place? Well, the reason why is because this is the worst episode of Havisiting. Now, if you make travel vlogs, then the actual travel days, i.e. the going to and from a destination, can be very difficult to portray. You're always on the move, you're never in the same place for long, there's always something going on, and yet there's not a lot to show people back home. Now, this particular journey was supposed to take 5 hours, from Cornwall back to our home in Hertfordshire, with a pit stop along the way in an as yet unpicked historic town somewhere in the southwest of England. As it happened, it definitely didn't take 5 hours. It took a lot longer. To give you an idea, to drive from the north of Scotland, the Isle of Skye, back to our home in Hertfordshire is a journey that in terms of sheer mileage is twice as big as this one. And yet in terms of the time it took, there's not that much difference. So as the day wore on and I came to appreciate what a disaster this was shaping up to be, I got to thinking, maybe that's what the fine people on YouTube want to see. Maybe they want to see a disaster. Maybe they want to see the sort of frustration that can only arise from having a sat-nav continually revise back your arrival time to later and later in the day. Well, if so, you're in the right place. And if not, then get out while you still can. So without further ado, it's time for the worst episode of Havisiting. We've spent a few days in Cornwall exploring the county. In the previous episode, I tried Cornwall's most famous foodstuff, the Cornish pasty, and we visited the world's largest indoor rainforest, the Eden Project.
You get up close and you come to appreciate the scale of these things. They are bloody enormous.
Today, we're making the drive back to our home in Hertfordshire with a break along the way in Taunton. What's in Taunton? Oh, just wait till you find out.
Well, it is a very misty morning here in Newquay. Like there's some sort of soupy fog hanging in the air. Today we have the very long drive home. We're anticipating about 5 hours worth of driving. But for now, let's get some breakfast from that same place we went to on our first day here. Got a little lifeguard down here looking after this one bobbing head in the sea. He's like, "You alright, mate?" "Yeah, I'm fine." "You sure you don't need rescuing?" "No, don't worry about it." "Oh, go on."
It's checkout time back at the hotel. We're about to embark on the first leg of our journey home. It should be a little under 2 hours to Taunton, but it takes us 2.5. Already our timing is off, but it's going to get far worse.
Taunton. So, here we are in Taunton. You may be thinking, isn't that the first garden town in the southwest? Correct, it is. You may be thinking, isn't that the party capital of Somerset? Correct again. You may be thinking, isn't that the one town that people always think of when someone says a paradise for adventurers? Correct. We are in beautiful, sunny Taunton to have a little look round, see what we can find. I actually know nothing about Taunton. The main reason we're here is because it was on our approximate route home and it has a Primark, and Becky wanted some leggings, so here we are. So far, Not a lot to thrill the eye, but who knows, we're just scratching the surface so far.
The heart of almost every English town is its high street, so I make a beeline for what I expect will be a hub of activity. What I find is a road punctuated with closed businesses, and at its end is Vivary Park, a pretty little spot with a substantial war memorial.
So, now here in Vivary Park, in Taunton, took a walk down the high street, and you see what you see on a lot of English high streets at the moment, which is a lot of charity shops, a lot of empty units, and businesses that can't be replicated online, cafes, nail salons, etc. The park's lovely, really nice, but is Taunton living up to its reputation as being the most exciting town in Britain? Probably not. Not a tourist hotspot is dear old Taunton. Anyway, check this out, this is quite nice. I wonder if Becky's done in Primark yet. What do you think? Did you get everything you were after?
Yeah, I just couldn't get you any jeans because they're all like them skinny ones.
Yeah. Well, if there's anything I'm not, it's skinny, so
Right, so we
probably a
go
wise
Sainsbury's.
choice.
Is there anywhere else you want to go?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so. So, that was Taunton. Pretty much standard British market town. High Street got in a fight with the internet. Appears to be losing. Now, probably the final stretch home.
Our drive home continues, but we don't get far before we grind to a halt.
More bloody traffic.
Eventually, we decide to abandon the motorway, taking the quieter rural roads, but progress is still slow, and with every minute of delay, dinner time draws nearer. So we divert to Wagamama, a Japanese restaurant in Basingstoke, where we'll be dining not quite al fresco.
So, we were due to be back about 6, I think it originally told us. And then it crept back to 6:15 on the sat-nav. Then it crept back again to 6:30, then to 7. Then when it started creeping past 7, because the traffic was getting so bad, we thought, well, that's an hour and a half potentially we're going to be spending just sat in traffic for no gain. So, we went to Basingstoke to order some Wagamama.
Whoop, whoop.
Yum yum, Donberry teriyaki. We're having it here in the car park of Festival Place, which is enormous, so I had to walk through the entire shopping centre to make the collection.
Stop moaning.
But
You got kimchi.
I do.
Now, baby is enjoying this.
Good.
Baby is actually enjoying it. Baby might actually not throw it back up.
It's been a fussy little bugger. Farewell to Basingstoke. Time for the final press home. We should be home about 8:05.
Whoop, whoop.
How the hell do I get out of here?
You follow the arrows.
Follow the yellow brick road. Or the arrows.
Just the arrows.
Arrows are also useful. Where did I put that little ticket? Have you got it? You've got it, okay.
You gave it to me.
I gave it to you.
Apparently, baby brain happens to the male as well as the female.
Well, I think it was smart to give
And that is why, or how, you lost my parasol.
That is a very much disputed point.
That lovely parasol that I spent £13 on and never got to use.
Historians believe that you lost it while you were
It was
out of
you.
your mind on
It
baby
was you
hormones.
pretending that you got baby brain.
You were high as a kite on baby
Why are you
hormones.
going back the way we just came?
This is the only way left to go.
Okay.
I'm doing what I can here.
Okay.
Hoping-
Right. Say bye then.
Bye.
Bye.
So, it is about 8:15 and we are now back in Welwyn Garden City. So we're not quite home, we've just stopped off to get some milk, but we will be home imminently. Bearing in mind we left at 10:30 this morning, that's near enough 10 hours worth of travelling. And yes, we had a couple of stops. We stopped in Taunton, beautiful, stunning, exciting Taunton. And we stopped in Basingstoke to get some food, and I think we stopped briefly for petrol as well. But let's just say we allow 2 hours for time that we were not literally sat here in the car at the wheel making miles, and that's a generous allowance. That 2 hours, it was probably less time than that we had actually stopped for. That's something like 8 hours worth of driving. Now I've just plugged this journey into Google Maps, and it should take on a clear run something like 5 hours. So we've probably spent in the region of 2.5 to 3 hours just sat in traffic, bored out of our minds. My iPod had run out of battery as well, so we weren't even listening to music. It's been a very long day of travel, and I know that when we used to go to Cornwall when we were kids, it was always a problem, the journey times going there and back. And I know that the last time we went to Cornwall as kids, my dad ended up taking 9 hours to drive back because of how bad the traffic was. 9 hours, I mean, you could fly to America in that time. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. It's just a shame it took so damn long, really, because it's a lovely place to visit, it is, but because of the journey times and because of so much of that being traffic, I don't think I'll be back in a hurry. It's different with Scotland, because with Scotland, you drive, but you're just driving there. There's not this stop-start nonsense. You're making miles the entire time, whereas a lot of the time when you're trying to get to Cornwall, you're just sort of sat there at the wheel, staring at another guy's bumper, waiting for them to move. Very frustrating. Anyway, that's it for this trip. I hope it's been fun. Certainly this last day of vlogging will not be fun. For me to edit, for you to watch, or for anything really. Why would I bother? I must be mad. But yeah, until next time, until the next trip, toodaloo.
Well, hello. If it isn't the only other person in the world to watch this video from beginning to end, I do hope you'll like and subscribe, because if you don't, what chance have I got with the normal people? And no, I don't want to hear your complaints. I went to some pains to discourage you from watching, but you knew better, didn't you?